Hello, and welcome to another edition of Spooky Reviews from Spooky Ventures. This is the 61st edition, and I'm going to be looking at a new DVD release of the Sierra Nevada Murders. It's a film which I think debuted in 2022, although it seems to take place in 2020. The movie is perhaps not exactly a horror film, but more of a thriller mystery, but it has plenty of horror elements and is definitely spooky, making it worth inclusion here. The format of the movie itself is rather unique. It's a hybrid of found footage, pseudo-documentary, and other styles. A former FBI agent is being interviewed for an upcoming show about his most famous case. Now, that serves as the framework around which the rest of the movie is based. The story is then told via a combination of that interview, other interview clips, found footage, and some standard film storytelling to fill in some of the blanks. It works pretty well, even if the intentional glitching on some of the clips can get a little annoying at times. As is true of a lot of found footage movies, it's also a little slow at points. However, they reveal enough information to keep you wondering where the movie is going from there, and that makes you keep watching. The case that the agent is talking about took place 10 years earlier. It involves a serial killer who recently died in prison from an apparent suicide. It's not as simple a story as a serial killer, though. First, he's a generational killer, apparently following in the footsteps of his father. Secondly, there is a haunted house legend around the home where the father lived, and there's a mysterious ghost or actual person pulling the strings behind it all, or at least supposedly pulling the strings. There's also a cult of accomplices to the crime. I have to say that Javier Morga's performance as the killer, Micah Anders, is chilling. They do some sort of voice augmentation on his lines, though, that gets a little annoying at times, taking me out of the story a little bit. But he plays it so chillingly cold and almost alien that he's very convincing. The story is intriguing and compelling. I have to admit, though, I had some ideas about how the movie was going to end while I was watching, and the actual finale was not nearly as interesting as the things I was thinking of. But then again, I do write a lot of fiction, so maybe I'm not the average viewer in that way. I did have some trouble keeping all the names straight as they were telling the tale. I have to admit, I really liked the creepy baby doll mask that was used in various ways in the movie a lot. And there were some fairly brutal kills as well. Overall, I'd say that this is a solid movie that's worth the time. It does have some definite trademarks of its indie nature. For one thing, there were some sound issues, but those aren't that bad and can be overlooked pretty easily. It does drag a little at times, as I mentioned. They did seem to leave it open for a sequel, too, which is kind of cool, I guess. The only bonus features here are some trailers for other movies, so the main film is what you get. There are definitely enough charms to it to make it worth the time. Spooky Ventures is the home for spooky content and spooky merchandise on the web. Check it out today at spookyventures.com. And remember, always keep it spooky.